Hmm. Mm-mm. You know, I can't tell you the last time that I've had some really fucking fire weed, but this shit right here. Welcome to another episode of Cannabis and Coffee with LaTosque. Today, I'm going to be tuned in with some outstanding gentlemen from the Bay Area in California. They go by the name of GW Smoke Break and Smoke Break TV. I'm sorry. But we're going to get that going right after this video. So I'm glad you tuned in. Let's get high. Put your questions in the chat box. Fellas.
Ooh.
Thanks for sitting down with me.
Yo.
How y'all doing today, man?
Doing great.
Man, living life to the max, my bro, out here in California, you know what I'm saying?
Beautiful. So as told and as promised, ladies and gentlemen, I am sitting here with the fellas of GW Smoke Break TV. Please introduce yourselves. Let the people know who you are.
Well, here, since I'm ice creamless, I'll start off first. My name's Rolf. I'm a videographer, and we've been doing this with GW Smoke Break for about over a year now. Yeah, that's who I am. I'm from the Bay Area,
Okay.
City. So yeah. Sorry, dog. Sorry.
Shania?
Yo, what's up, you guys? I'm Shania. I'm kind of the, original video guy Daniel approached originally back in April 2019 when he had kind of the idea. Daniel and I have been riding this thing out since then. Grabbed Rolf, and we've just been pedal to the floor, you know what I mean? And here we are on your show, bro. So thanks for having us. Oh, and Daniel.
Yeah, man, my name is Daniel Montero. I'm here, born and raised in San Jose, California. I'm a legacy career cannabis operator. I've been with the plant full time since I was a teenager. Never left their side. I got a criminal record to prove it. So that's funny because it's shit like that now that it's like, kind of points on your end because there's so many posers out here trying to be about it when they have no clue what it is like to be connected to the people. So for me, it's my honor to be working with these guys. They're very humble. Without Rolf's input, we wouldn't be where we're at. And without Shania's input and leadership, definitely wouldn't be where we're at. And Rolf definitely leads in many different ways as well. And as a crew, I'm really proud of the work we're doing, which is being an industry leader here in California when it comes to authentic California cannabis culture. And what that means is when it really comes from a place of those of us who participated before legalization. Because if your incentive is purely money, you got to, and you're only coming into it now because it's legal, then you're definitely not the end all be all when it comes to cannabis culture. And the terms cultural wealth and cultural sovereignty are terms that I'm going to teach y'all and share with y'all today. And it's what we're capitalizing on, and it's what the people have as their assets. where a corporate company that doesn't have that can't compete in that regard, even though they got more money. They got it. That's why Michael Jordan gets sponsored by.
They got the machine, but they don't have the idea.
Nike's got the athletes, and it's necessary to have that relationship to the people, because without it, they're hollow because they're just about the money for them. You know what I'm saying? For the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're proud of our work, my man. We're doing some cutting edge work, 100%. It's all real. We carry a different vibe with us. And I would say that there is nobody else that's quite doing the work like we're doing. And I think we've inspired a lot of people to have their talk shows and have their platforms to talk about this culture.
I was looking at your channel, and it's some really great high quality material. And I was just like, man, see, I love this. Your interviews go in depth. You actually talk about subjects that matter. And I've known since our first conversation that Daniel, our first conversation on the NCIA talks, that you were passionate about cannabis and about the people, So that's one thing that resonates on all of your channels across all platforms, is that you all are passionate about getting the correct word and message out for the people and about the plant, which I admire, and I thank you all for doing that. I appreciate it. It's needed in the industry, and you actually, you hit it on the nail. We need people in the industry that care about the mother plant, that care about actually healing people, and just not just in it for profit. Like the money and shit will come. That's something that like my grandparents used to tell me. The money and shit will come. Like you're talented. All of that stuff will come. Like all of that stuff will happen if you do it the right way. Like you start cutting ends, you'll get money, but you're going to fuck customers over. You're going to have a bad, reputation, all of that stuff. And like you said, it's not all about the money. It's about the healing component,
Yes, sir.
Like that.
Oh, yeah.
So how did you all meet?
Well, Shanye.
I was filming at the San Francisco Equity Workshop sessions that were happening in San Francisco in like spring of 2019. And it was the original equity group was throwing the workshops, and I was filming everything that went on there. Daniel was an active participant in those workshops. And then the last day I was introduced to Daniel, and Daniel just said, hey, I'd like to interview some people in the back, and we can put out some small little videos of just me talking to them about their experiences and, stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, let's go for it, Yeah. And then we made those videos, and he was like, well, there's these other events coming up. Should we keep doing this? And we were like, yeah, let's keep doing this, like this feels good. And we like, and we started talking about the name, and it really kind of took off from there. I mean, once we I think the real thing that like locked me in is like, once we had the name and then we had to change the name, like once we had a little conflict, then I knew this was going to be a thing. You know what I mean? We already like, once we chose the name, then like within like, I don't even know,
months.
Within like 2 months,
somebody else was like, yo, I've already had that name.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to send you a cease and desist. And then so we have to sit down and like rethink it. And we actually like pretty quickly.
So that's what I was going to ask. I'm sorry to cut you. Where did you get the name from?
Yo.
What does GW stand for?
Before it was GW, it was Ganjier Smoke Break. And the reason being, I'm one of 4 people in California to be awarded the Ganjier Award. You spell that Ganjier. And just like you have a sommelier in the wine industry who's a wine expert, you have a Ganjier, which a friend of mine coined that term. And so be it that the term is so dope that Green Flower Media decided to purchase it from him, and now they licensed that name.
Oh, wow.
This was Ganjier Smoke Break, right?
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh, dude, this is stressful because it's a cease and desist. We have a dope logo right here and right behind us, as you can see. And now GW's Green Walrus, man. And Green Walrus is my delivery service when I jumped in from the black market into 215, which is medical, which is before Prop 64, what you see today in California, which is for profit. I became the Green Walrus, you know what I'm saying? That's how I made a name for myself. And under that name of the delivery service, I got the Ganjier Award. So now, man, we're adapting, keeping it alive, you know what I'm saying?
Can you tell us, because I'm not really familiar with the equity laws in California, as he was just explaining, he said you all met at an equity workshop?
Yes.
So can you go into depth about what's going on in California on the equity forefront, and what did it mean for you to be an equity owner?
Yeah, man. Well, to go in depth about equity would be take up the rest of your show. You know what I'm saying? But what I can do is get you definitely like an overview and get you.
Let's do that. Let's do it in abbreviated version.
Definitely to accomplish what you have in mind, I think. So, in a nutshell, 2018 in California is when it changed from 215 to 64, and everybody knows what a bait and switch is, and it's a classic example of corporate greed and politicians being sneaky to pass something that's supposedly for the people, but it's not. And so I say this in preparation for what I'm going to share with you, in that the relationship between the business community, meaning investors and those that come from the world of accounting and lawyers and finances, have been predators to equity applicants in Oakland, San Francisco. San Jose still doesn't have an equity program, and I'm not complaining about that. Yeah. So 2018, a lot of progress has been made to where, from my perspective, what is being done and what we need to do is to change the psychology of the business world and the way they interact with equity applicants. And so nobody's asking for a handout. And unfortunately, Oakland fucked up in the way that they wrote their laws. So there's minimum accountability because of the legal vague nature of what was written. So still, you have a minimum amount, if any, equity applicants, equity operators that are successful in the licensing industry today. And in San Francisco, it's an uphill battle, mainly because what is fucking everybody over the table are high taxes, right? It costs a shitload of money to renew your license at the state level. Just to have an annual license for many of us, it's a big problem, mainly for cultivators in Northern California.
Yeah, what those license costs looking like?
As an example, my man, I'll get to that cost of the license, but what's more important is to understand that you have abusive taxes in the form of a gross receipts tax, a 10% gross receipts tax in San Jose. That's like mob shit, where people come in, you know what I'm saying, like, hey, you don't give us 10% of everything you make, we're going to fucking burn your place down. That's what gross receipts is before your expenses. And so you can't have equity in one hand and have abusive taxes that are designed to crush small business in the other. And that's the battle we're fighting. But check it out, LaTosque, the last answer to your question about equity now is that BALCA, the Bay Area Latino Cannabis Alliance, is now an equity leader in the Bay Area, and we're going to make an organized push. It's a 5-figure bill from a leading economist that's known on a national level to help us lower taxes in California on a local level, and ideally all the way to the Emerald Triangle, because these relationships that we're sowing, are going to mature into independent supply chains, which we will exert control over as federal legalization deschedules, and we'll have the notoriety of Humboldt with us and be able to exclusively distribute that across the country and enjoy international export and global tourism. Man, I want the world to come to California. And it's folks like you and me that are going to continue to define real cannabis culture and the feeling that people want, the experience, what I'm calling the California cannabis experience. So like when you go to Hawaii, you want everything Hawaii. It's the same thing, my man, and we're dreaming it, we're living it. And like I've been saying, cannabis is love. And it's so dope to see how that matures into the real world, into a vibe, a real feeling, man.
It is.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because you know why you got to capitalize on culture and equity and what you got inside of you and how to come all the way out of the green closet. And it's a good way to say it, because when people come out of the closet with their sexuality, as an example, they feel hella free. They're like so happy that they can be accepted for who they are. And for those that were seen as criminals and that have criminal records, now that we can say that, dude, this is who we are. it also feels good. And there's a power to that. There's an energy to that, and that's the backbone of successful branding. Because when it comes to throwing money at the problem, it's never going to work. If that's your drive is money, it's not going to work. Like you heard me say in a private call, it's got to be your love for what you do. Your idols who are musicians, who are athletes, who are all kinds of talented folks. They are top level in the state, in the world, because of their love for their craft, for their passion. There is no shortcuts to this shit, you know. So in America, we think like it's easy, it's fast, but nah, man. In the D game, when you're on the street, I'll tell you, for everybody that's hustling on the street right now, check it out, man. We're all fucking super cool. It's easy to sell weed and drugs on the street, dude. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. But try getting with the legal game, and it's actually a lot of pressure because you got to jump into the shoes of a businessman from one day to the next without a college 4 years to prepare your ass. You know what I'm saying? So it's pressure that when you love something, just like a woman, you won't let any pressure get in between you and your love for that woman. You know what I'm saying? It's real talk, man. It's real fucking talk. And that's that love that we're teaching those around us to understand. Because I could say, LaTosque, I'm in love with my woman, bro. I think of her night and day. But I understand that. LaTosque, my dog passed away, man, and my heart's broken. I can understand that. LaTosque, this plant right here, see this plant? I love this plant. I mean, maybe you, because you're in the industry, would understand that. But somebody from the outside, most of the world, does not understand.
Yeah.
You feel me? So that's where all this is born from, and it's amazing because we have an endocannabinoid system, and when we embrace it all the way, come all the way out of the closet, the wise men that I've always learned from and that have existed before us and after us always say, the ignorance is the man that thinks they know it all, but the wise men say, the more I know, the less I know. So what I'm telling you, my man, my brother, is that the plant for right now is giving all of us a kind of spiritual growth. We're living our dream right now. She's helped us manifest a reality that none of us thought possible. And she's there for all of us to achieve that for whatever our dreams are. And the best way that I can say it is this lady from Humboldt, Ayana, Humboldt Synchronicities, she said it herself. She said, weed is an energy, is a source for you to focus your energy on whatever you want. Get high, get creative on whatever you want. Sell some weed, make money, apply towards whatever you want. And in Humboldt, they built their community, invested into schools and community centers. And now today, we need to rethink economics and how we can depend on each other to survive on this equity thing and build these relationships to Arizona, across the country, amongst those brothers and sisters, to give the world the experience they want that comes from us, like the jazz parlors from back in the day. Like when you go to Mexico, it's real Mexicans running the show. It ain't nobody else, and that's why it feels good.
There's not big corporate behind it.
I'm sorry, 100%, my brother. Yeah.
So what kind of culture exists in your organization, and how did y'all establish it? Because I know y'all seem like y'all are pretty close-knit.
Well, also, I guess to kind of finish the earlier part about how we all met, because they met before I did, before, you know, they started before I did, before I joined, and I really joined in Emerald Cup 2019. Shanye had another gig at the, here, you want to kind of, he had another gig at the Emerald Cup and was unable to film with Daniel.
So check it out, LaTosque. It's the biggest event in California, the Emerald Cup, and Shanye had to film Tommy Chong. We all know who Tommy Chong is. Got paid a handsome amount of money, man. I was like, fuck, I'm a player, right? So I'm never.
Yeah, he was like, I'm not gonna hate on it. Like,
if you're gonna make your money, it's all good. And he was gentleman enough to not leave me hanging and said, Rolf, dude, I got Rolf. And oddly enough, this guy is so committed. He's getting ready. He forgets none of his equipment, but he forgets all of his clothes. So I had to let him borrow a pair of socks. He was committed though, man, and I was worried.
That was actually team bonding right there.
And LaTosque, for sure. You can bond over some weed too, but not if you're worried if a boy can handle his work while he's getting high. True. So for me, I was worried about that. This guy handled it, man. It was beautiful, and that's how we met, and it's been on ever since. Dude, this guy's always leveling up on his equipment, his know-how, his tactics, and it shows in the post-production of the videos that we make.
So do you film? Do you try to wait to get high into after filming when you're on location?
We film. We
Or
smoke
do you normally
on the way
smoke?
there.
Like smoke breaks,
Dude,
like
we smoke on
Okay.
the way there.
gotta film, gotta do work, but then
Yeah.
smoke breaks in between, between takes and stuff for sure. And then on the way up to it, because it's a long drive.
We're smoking the whole time, dude. We're smoking the whole time, dude. Yep. These guys don't have a joint in their mouths while they're filming, but yeah, as soon as it cuts, I pass them the joint.
Yeah.
We usually have some rolled up while we film.
Yeah.
And the dope thing is when you do that, I think you show the people that you're really about the plant. You're not just taking dabs. All these fools that are flexing about dabs won't hit a joint. They can't hit a joint. They'll like, no, bro, come do that. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it really is grounding, and it shows you're about it, and it also connects you to the person you're trying to connect with. And that was my logic from the get-go, dude.
Yeah.
It's for those two things, and it's worked like you wouldn't believe. So even us right now, even though it's virtual, you're smoking. I'm about to smoke. Rolf's got this right here.
I just smoked this.
Oh, you just look at that. It's already loaded.
Yeah, he just hit. Yeah.
Yeah, LaTosque. And what's beautiful about what we're doing is we're two brothers. All of us are brothers, and we're communicating from different states, and we're connecting in a way that legalization has allowed us to. Because when you're hustling on the street, you're not talking to nobody because it's a secret. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So to me right now, my man, it's about how do we wrap our minds around maximizing these relationships, not in a way we're like
multi-state relationships.
Yeah, the converse of relationships, and not necessarily not even how can LaTosque make us money. That's the old way. How can we add value to LaTosque's world and vice versa in a non-monetary kind of way? Because when the time comes, when there's money to be made or action that has to go in that direction, it'll come. But that's the real thing, man, because that's what they can't stop is community, is the people, and independence, economic independence, which together we can do much easier than than thinking we can do it on our own. These fools are picking us apart in California like snipers in a bad movie. Like all the heroes are getting sniped out, from farmer all the way to the equity operator. And in San Jose right now, it's my wet dream, I always say, and it's been almost coming true. We'll see if it comes all the way true. But for San Jose to not have
a reform on the bill.
Well, no, exactly. Before the equity program in San Jose takes place, because I want to be a dispensary owner. So before the green light takes place, I want the taxes to be lowered at a state level. I want federal legalization to happen so that 280E, you can start deducting so you don't have a huge tax liability. You can deduct your business expenses. And if all those things happen, it makes business much easier because it can't be an emotional decision in this business. Everything has to be cold and calculated like you're robbing a bank. And I like to use that example and watch the movies. The boys that get away with robbing banks are the ones that really planned it. They didn't just fucking, we're going to go do it. It's a complex thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I've never done it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I appreciate the nature of getting away with something like that because a lot of guys.
Yeah, some Ocean's 11.
Sorry?
Nice Ocean's 11 type of plot.
And if you approach this game the same way, you're carving a unique path for yourself, and you figured out the whole culture game. And what was taught to me, my man, and what you're doing is making a name for yourself, being humble while you do it, keeping your ego in check, because that can attract the wrong energy for sure. People that just want shit from you. And man, that's how you succeed in a river full of operators, And I always use a crocodile hunter. Remember the crocodile hunter?
Oh yeah, I just turned 30.
My man,
I just turned 30, so yeah, I definitely remember him before he died. Yeah.
It was about his love. It was about his love for that cold-blooded, misunderstood thing, that man killer. And we is seen as that man killer. And through us, we humanize her through our love for her. It's a deep thing, man, and it's not ego. Do you know who Frenchie Cannoli is?
I do not. Who Frenchie Cannoli?
Yeah, he just passed away, man. He was the number one in the world advocate for hashish, preserving the craft of making hash that has existed for thousands of years. And he did a great job through his love, like the crocodile hunter, of sparking the next generation of hash craftsmen. Just like the crocodile hunter, there's young cats our age that are
64
with snakes and crocs and shit.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna definitely do my research on them, man. Probably have to do a write up on them in the magazine. What attributes does someone need to have in order to really be successful in your position?
you just got to keep, just have passion, dude, for what you do. I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing. I mean, with life is just, as long as you actually care about what, your job or what the end product of what you do is going to be. I mean, that's really the biggest thing. For me, I just been doing video for about professionally 5 years, like, like getting paid on a regular basis kind of stuff, like, so it's just, it's definitely, it's over a lot of years that it comes together, but you just got to have passion. You got to have resilience, right? You got to be able to withstand the hard times. Like there were times, yeah, dude, I've come a long way from just doing music videos for like $300 hella quick for some friends, and then probably don't get paid fully, but you have
that grind starting off.
Yeah, you have to go through those stages, and I'm sure it's very similar. Just like in, because I'm not like in the, and I'm not a legacy farmer or anything like that.
Yeah,
I'm a videographer. I grew for my first time last year.
Nice, congratulations.
Yeah.
But like what I was saying is, there's always struggle in anything you do, any profession you do. But as long as you can kind of stick with it, and as long as you love the end product, I think is the biggest thing. So
yeah.
Yeah, man, as men, we're not really in tune with love like women are, LaTosque. And when you come from the hood, or not even the hood, you can have your family can come from the nice side of town, but sometimes we don't experience the best versions of love.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that what weed has taught me is a world of love in many different contexts. Like even though I wasn't hugged as a child that much, I knew that my parents loved me. And now I know that there'd be nothing weird if I were to go to you and give you a hug and say like, "Hey, man, I love you, brother." Whereas in my younger years, that's a foreign concept to me. And what it all boils down to is your passion, your love. You think Michael Jordan doesn't eat, sleep, drink basketball, and Kobe Bryant and the athletes that we look up to? The Will Smith said, there ain't no difference between me and you. It's that if you put me and you on a track, on those fucking runners that don't go nowhere in the gym.
Yeah, I'm gonna outwork you.
I'm gonna outwork you. You're gonna quit before I quit.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it's willpower. It's believing yourself, and the love is what transmutes into people's hearts and minds. And Coca-Cola tries to get you on taste the feeling, but it's all full of shit. It's taste diabetes.
Yeah, Will Smith is one of I definitely have watched most of his interviews. He's a very insightful man. A lot of knowledge and wisdom comes from listening to him, man. And him and, a lot of our elders, too, if we actually just sit down and listen, because a lot of people have been through some stuff, and especially if they're older than you. A lot of people don't think that a small time frame could mean some difference, but I want you to look at this in perspective. So somebody who's 2 years separated would have lived through COVID, and then you got those two before that. I mean, born 2 years after that, never been affected by COVID, because babies born probably 2023 going forward aren't going to have to live with COVID being a reality, but
Right.
It's going to be kids who have been affected by this for the rest of their life, having to be locked up in the house or having to deal with all of that, or even losing people to that situation.
Yeah.
And what's crazy, there's been so many studies in other countries that have had weed legalized for a while. And one of the first studies combating COVID last year came out. They were using CBD to fight it up in Canada. And when I saw that, I was just like, "Yo, what the fuck is going on? Why isn't this making the news? Like, why isn't all this shit? Like, more people need to know about this." But then, what else were they pushing? They were pushing selling those bags.
Do you like to read?
You say what?
Excuse me. Do you like to read?
Oh yeah, I definitely.
Have you read Jack Hare's book called "The Emperor Wears No Clothes"? I highly recommend that book, man.
I'm gonna add it into my.
So many times.
You said The Emperor.
You're going to learn so many truths about this plant and how it's been denied to us in so many ways historically since Prohibition back in like 1937. But it's called The Emperor Wears No Clothes by Jack Herer.
Pretty famous.
Yeah, Herer. Yeah.
I just got it up there, and actually
Digital.
for the people who are for those of you who are watching at home and you want to know what it is, I'm gonna drop it in the chat real quick for you.
Nice.
And there we go. It's right at the bottom of the screen. That's the book.
Nice.
Make sure y'all go check that out. Thank you for the suggestion.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of books, do you have any business-related books that inspired you?
Yes.
What is it?
All right.
Yeah.
It's going to be maybe hard to get, and it's a hardcore book.
Oh.
But if you want to be hardcore, then what you want to get is called the Shogun's Scrolls. It's either the Shogun Scroll or the Shogun Scrolls. And you'll know when you see it. And
it's a book by Stephen F. Kaufman.
That's correct. And what you'll find is that in California, I've seen it happen so many times to where I hear this, LaTosque. Hey, Danny, I got my investor lined up, man. It's all good. I got him lined up. We're waiting for a location. And I'm thinking to myself, bro, I'm not going to speak specifically. I'm just going to say things how they are. In business, nobody gives you money to be your friend.
Yeah.
And in most cases now in the cannabis industry, it's at an exorbitant amount of an interest rate, ridiculous terms. They're exercising control of your business. And what people need to understand is when you take on an investor, you're no longer working for yourself. You're working for them now because you're not self-funded. You're not independent. And in that position that they're in, they want to see that you remain that way. And so what am I getting to is, remind me of the question, LaTosque, where are we going with this?
Business-related book, and you
So my bad.
Tell me about this right here.
So I'm gonna take
Shogun Scrolls, Will, Power, and Control Your Destiny.
Yeah, and that's the real thing, because when you understand how the world is and how to wield that understanding to your benefit, you can then control your world of business 100 times better, like the Matrix, man. It really made it cut and dry for me. As an example, I want to play football, right? It's fun to play on the weekend with my homies when I'm a young buck. I weigh 100 pounds. You know, I get heavier, become an adult, starts to hurt more. You got to get padded up. There's rules in high school. You want to play in the NFL, LaTosque? You know that takes a great amount of sacrifice, and you have to accept the truths of what it means to be a professional player. And so in the world of samurai, where they wouldn't speak unless it was something eloquent, because those could be the last words that you would be remembered by. So if I say, hey, LaTosque, man, you were shitty to me yesterday, so you know what? I hope you have a whack-ass day. And I get sliced in half because I'm a samurai fucking hours later. You're going to say, you know, Danny was all right, but the last words I heard him say were, I hope
I have a shitty day.
You know, so it's that same concept of life and death, of survival, that helps us clearly understand that in business, you need to have the same attitude to survive, because they come like wolves in sheep clothing. They come as our friends, when in fact history teaches us from Africa to South America to this country that a certain demographic of people who we know who you are do nothing but just fuck shit up for the rest of us. And those days don't have to continue.
I feel you.
So, LaTosque, you want to arm yourself with some dangerous information to empower you like a Black Panther.
Some knowledge.
And I say Black Panther because I feel that kind of attitude and information that is utilized in that mindset is power. And this is what that book gave me. And it was recommended to me who does wield power in the game. And that's Kevin Jodrey. Kevin Jodrey is I always call him a 5-star general. It's actually his birthday today.
Hey, happy birthday.
He's an internationally recognized cat, man. And he's a big inspiration for GW Smoke Break. And you as well, in the sense that to learn that it has value to make a name for yourself in the correct way in the industry world that you're seeking to make a success in. it's not a bad thing, man. It's actually a really beneficial thing. So yeah, it's all good. As far as books, that's the one, dude.
Thank you. Who do you admire most in the cannabis industry?
You want to hear the real? I can name off a bunch of people, and I just named one who would probably be at the who is at the top of my list. But you know what I'm gonna say, LaTosque? Actually, you know, I want Rolf to go first.
Oh well, being just kind
Or
of
even if it's not in Roth, because I know that you were saying that you're not like fully in the cannabis industry. It could be in the videography industry, you know, and producing. You know, who's someone, because that's what you are tailoring your career towards. Who's someone in that industry that
so
you would you look up to?
Well, for sure, I was gonna say in the cannabis industry, even though it's been short lived, my my time in it. Kevin Jodrey for sure, and I would just elaborate more, just like, he is known as like a world class, cultivator. He's done a lot of things for the plant, for Humboldt County. But I think what has impressed me a lot in the times that we have talked with him, like we've had like dinner with him, and he's hung out with us a few times. And for me, I think he's just very knowledgeable about just like life and like local politics and just like what's ahead in the future. Like he's got his like fingers on the pulse of like what's coming, and like just a lot of things that he says. It's like, oh man, like this guy's like operating like just years ahead. Like I would put him up there with like people like shit, man, like Elon Musk, or like, just like how high functioning their brain is, basically.
Okay.
In terms of film, I mean, I got directors I really like. I mean, one of my favorite directors is like Alfonso Cuarón. Now I'm like blanking.
You said Alfonso
Cuarón. My all-time favorite movie from him is Children of Men. It's a sci-fi kind of futuristic, post-apocalyptic world type thing. But it's really
that was a dope ass movie.
Yeah, I know. It's one of my favorites.
Man.
Yeah, that's a great movie. So that's just off the top of my head. That's one of my guys right there, Alfonso.
That was a good ass movie. What about you, Daniel? You got, if you had to narrow it down to one more person.
Well, check it out, LaTosque. The answer to your question that I have is that the marijuana plant, is who I admire the most, and the reason being is that.
Come on, man, that's a cheat code. I respect it though. I respect it.
Just check it out. She was here before us, and she was here after us. And there's a multitude of cats that align themselves with the plant, and I can go on and on and on. And you know who you are because you carry that in your spirit. You know what I'm saying? And that is you're part of something that's eternal. You know what I'm saying? And you're adding value to the next generation for their relationship with the plant. And the plant is so resilient. She's intelligent. She's taught me so much. And if you're really wanting an answer, as to who I admire in the industry as far as a person,
that's dope. The answer in Mary Jane is the plant.
Oh, absolutely.
I gotta respect that.
Maybe someone that has helped with the cultivating side of the game or something, or
I would say that Frenchie Cannoli needs his due. I mean, Kevin Jodrey, obviously, you know what I'm saying? Frenchie Cannoli is a big inspiration, and I think that of all the people in this modern era of legal cannabis, he has impacted the world around him, literally the world, in a way that I can't say that other people individually have within our space. And it's all boiled down to his love for hash, just like the Crocodile Hunter. So if you want to be a famous rapper, a musician, if you fucking aren't a real gangster and you're trying to be a gangster rapper, you better pretend to be, and maybe it's not born out of love, right? It's maybe not the best example.
Better be a good ass actor, right?
Yeah, man. And maybe a bit like R&B, or like when there's soul to your music, it's like you gotta love the music you're making to have that dope jazz, that dope R&B. Maybe that's a better example. And to be an athlete, so that it seems like an art when you're moving across the court in the playing field, and in the Olympics even. So I think what people don't understand is that the way we grew up with the image of bling bling and being in the street and selling dope. Those days are over, dude. With technology and artificial intelligence, the feds, the DEA, they're having this sewed up. And with weed being a legal thing, the real hustlers, the smart hustlers, are the ones that find a way in the future of this industry and align themselves with that. And that's what I'm having an enjoyment of seeing, because I'm connecting here in California with top level hustlers, LaTosque, that were in the game before then and are going to be in the
that
game.
have they business and shit legit. I feel you. What's
Yeah.
your favorite thing about being a part of the cannabis community?
You know, it's a very open community. You know, no one's pretty. No one judges you or anything like that at all. And it's a community that like really again like has passion for what they want, like for what they do, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've observed, like the biggest thing. Also, just like meeting. For me, it's like I'm totally down about just like the whole regenerative farming movement and all that kind of like organic, like all that kind of stuff. And a lot of these farmers, especially up in Humboldt, are definitely practicing a lot of that kind of stuff. So it's like definitely
Have they been growing organically for a while?
most of them for
Since
sure.
day one.
For sure, from what we've been learning, but yeah, I mean that's kind of something that I've always looked at as like a positive, in terms of just like regular produce, right? Just food that we eat. But going up to these farms and learning more about it, like seeing that, the farms that we're visiting do practice, like they practice good they have good environmental practices.
What I appreciate most about the cannabis community is when this shit was illegal, man, you didn't realize. Well, we realized what we were sacrificing in the game that we're in, going to jail, all that shit, even risking your life. Mm-hmm. So you still didn't share that with the world. You weren't acknowledged. You weren't seen as it wasn't nothing positive. Just, again, a criminal kind of lifestyle. So now that the planet is legal, man, to be able to be part of a community where that sacrifice is now seen, just like two players from opposite teams are in Hawaii on vacation, the two players that look at each other be like, yep. They have that mutual respect because they know what it's like to go through a season in the NFL, all the sacrifice and so forth. It's the same thing as legacy operators. It's this unspoken bond, a connection, this level of respect that legalization, again, has allowed us to come together. So to be a part of a community that is rooted in so many noble attributes and such a rebellious spirit that is not just something that's legal now, but is at the forefront and will continue to shape mainstream culture, music, art, media, weed, man. And like,
exactly.
We're in the matrix right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew this about me, dude, but in 2016, I almost lost my life violently from an attempted robbery, making a delivery for $500 worth of pot.
I didn't.
Shot point blank in the chest by a 380. Drive a little Prius, man. I'm driving like this from the passenger side. So the bullet comes like this, and it's a miracle I'm alive, dude.
Holy shit.
Like 10 millimeters or less, where a part of your liver that just won't regenerate. If it gets punctured, you'll bleed to death. The bullet missed by literally that much. And ever since then, man, I feel very grateful to be alive. And the incredible thing is that was one of the things that won me the gwsmokebreaktv award, is that 2 weeks after I got out of the hospital, I was there for 12 days after 2 surgeries. Is I went back to making deliveries, man. People thought I was fucking cool, and the fucking same day, LaTosque, that I opened up shop, I had 3 or 4 shady ass fools wanting to get a delivery, and I'm like, you motherfuckers. But you see, I just got greedy. I ignored the warning signs, and I knew that you're definitely had a safe distance over the phone by just turning down shady business. And so ever since then, it's been cool. But you see, it's that level of commitment that now, where we are seen as criminals, who gives a fuck about your sacrifice, it's now something that's romanticized, right? Just like the Wild West. The Wild West is romanticized by Hollywood, and the last laugh is that Hollywood owns those stories where the cowboys don't. And in reality, out of 1,000 cowboys, there was one Buffalo Bill that enjoyed personal notoriety, just like there's one LaTosque. And that's why it's the importance of owning our stories, owning our talent, creating our own ways. Because 100 years from now, as we romanticize this for ourselves, you know, we're going to be remembered as more than just a product, more than in just the lens of the Hollywood of tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
we write our own books,
You tell your own story, and then
It's just-
nobody else can make it up for you.
history, man. You know that movie with Eddie Murphy about Brooklyn or Prohibition 100 years ago, Harlem Nights?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's a
that was
beautiful
a that was
movie,
a
man.
good movie.
Yeah, and you know what I'm saying? That's the kind of shit I'm talking about, is that it's romanticized in that way. And our world now, we're living in these times. So the more we can just come out of the closet and harness that love that we have for our community, for those smoke sessions we have, for everything that we do as a cannabis culture, that's the power that will magnetize global tourism, consumerism. It's a global industry we're talking about. So
Yeah.
it's dope, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Do y'all have a favorite cannabis event?
The Emerald Cup,
Yeah.
hands down.
That's my only. That's like my only event I've gone to. That's like
It's the
It's the
Emerald.
Oscars. Yep, it's the
Yeah.
Oscars here. There's
And
nothing like it in California.
When does that normally take place?
December, like the second weekend of September, man.
December.
December, excuse me, the second weekend of December.
I was like, hold on, wait. December
that's
or
fine.
the second?
Oh, no.
It's like December 19th. I can't.
Oh
say
shit! So almost like when I'm at. Wait, where is it at?
Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa, yeah.
Okay, is that
A little bit of a drive if you're in the
in the
from
Bay?
Francisco. It's
It's
about
an
an
hour. It's
Yeah.
not even an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, from San Francisco. But yeah.
I was about to say, shit, I might have to make that a whole week vacation then.
It's,
Bro,
it's like
worth
a
it,
3-day
man.
event, so yeah, it's
People
definitely
from all over the world.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Because I know the NCIA event is going to be over that Friday or something like that. So that weekend, I probably could slide over to the Earl Cup.
I highly recommend it, man. I would
That'd be
definitely
dope.
Well, most likely will definitely be there.
100%.
Do y'all have a favorite weed strain?
You know, it's really funny. I was saying for a long time my favorite was ice cream cake, but I guess that's kind of like not as popular now. But I like ice cream cake. It's good. I like it. Like it's a good high.
As far as a good strain right
I
now,
don't know.
there's so much good shit in California, dude.
Mm-hmm.
To answer your question,
Man, it is a lot of shit coming out of man.
Yeah. Well, what's it like in Arizona? I mean, I know we've been saying a lot about California. Arizona.
So you got a few girls out here that are holding it down. I don't know. I haven't had anything that like knocked it out of the park yet. Honestly.
you want to hear the new
Like,
shit?
I haven't had some shit that is like, this is the greatest shit I've ever smoked in my life.
Are you guys
You know.
recreational now, or
Yeah, we rec and med.
Okay.
Man,
You
so
say
we
we
got like,
hear some what?
yeah, so the nasty new shit, you know what I'm saying? I'll start with like the stuff that's been around, but I have the fortune of getting shit before everybody else does.
Yeah.
So the Mac, the White Tahoe cookies, I've been having
The
that
Mac.
shit before anybody else did. I just from going to Humboldt for the past 20 years and having the right relationships, and that's not an exaggeration.
Yeah.
And it depends, right? It's like you can have the gelato. There's a lot of watered down versions and phenos of that, so if you get that.
Yeah, a lot of dispensaries got gelato out here, and I just be like, man, I've had some.
Not the way it is with
gelato.
me, man. So check it out, LaTosque. The Jokers, the Blue Agave, the what else I got, man? Now I'm drawing the Red Delicious Gelato.
You said you had jet fuel. I mean, that's one that's been.
I have
around.
Jet Fuel Pie.
Oh, jet fuel pie.
I got a Bicket OG, which is a GMO crossed with a Cherry OG.
Oh
From
my
Nick
god!
Risden. It came from Michigan. But the stuff in Cali that's really hot is like the horchata, the pancakes. Is coming into the legal system.
Man, how is the horchata?
The horchata smells great. It's stony.
Smells like cereal.
Smells like cereal. I'm trying to think of the other stuff I'm touching right now. The molten lava is really all just wild strains, man. My boys up in Humboldt, they hold it down, dude. It's really cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to go. I gotta get a tour one day.
Yes, sir.
That's gonna be nice, man. Jeez.
More than welcome.
That's a lot of different strains, man. I can't even.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking. I've heard about the horchata, and I was like, man, I want to try that.
And up in Humboldt, like the 87 OG, which is a 1987 OG, which is like a real rude awakening as to some funk from back then. And you're like, I've never smelled nothing like this. It smells nasty. It smells, it makes me GMO smell like nothing is strong when you smell this. It's putrid, man. Our other homie, Ted at Cannon Country Farms, he numbers his strains so as not to give them undue hype. The 26, the 9, they're all dank, man, like Burmese crossed with X, Y, and Z.
Oh, yeah.
But like truly genetics, like freak shows. And as an example,
freak shows.
Dude, you watch an NBA game, right? Some of these guys are freak shows. LeBron James is a physical freak show. You feel me? So that's how it is in plant genetics as well. Same thing with pit bulls, you know, all that shit. Or even with any animal in the wild, there's that one big ass line or what have you. And the cool thing, LaTosque, is like those of us that are really drawn to the plant, I've noticed we also have unique genetics, man. It's like the people that really persevere in this industry have a lot of willpower and so forth. And it's really what's happening, Playa. It's one of our people right here.
Yeah, 619.
Danny using cheat codes. Yeah, but no, it's dope. It's like we all. It's a super pod of ingenuity, of talent, those coming together. It's a beautiful new culture and platform for us to share. Just like when you talk, I always make a joke like if LeBron James were to get 10 women pregnant and Rolf or I were to get 10 women pregnant, you know, the chances of LeBron James having world-class athlete kids and us, it's different, right?
Yeah.
And that's the difference between having the right seeds for weed and not. But check it out. The men and women who had the balls and the willpower to really hold on to that in face of federal time and doing 100 years because you're carrying big numbers.
Yeah.
That's unique, man.
Especially some from 87, like to keep that same.
That's the start, dude. That's barely the
pure
start.
line. The
Legend.
Pure line.
Yeah, because a lot of people lose a lot of strains. Yeah, a lot of.
Congratulations, man. Thank you.
You know the movie Pineapple Express?
I love the movie Pineapple Express.
My favorite one, dog. Come on. Dog.
So now what I'm saying is these strains make Pineapple Express. They're going to make movies and songs about these strains that are coming that they have. They can finally come out. Because in California, it's all cats with a lot of money. These corporate companies like Verizon, as an example, that push that same kind of message that drowns everything else out and looks sexy. But the quality of the fucking pot is whack, dude. Just like you're like, dude, I'm paying $200 a month, supposed to be good service, but I'm always losing my service. So same thing as weed costs me $70, but you taste some shit from Humboldt.
So I was about to ask you, how do you feel about dispensaries and shit selling eighths for like $60, $65?
Well, that's before tax, right?
Exactly, it's before tax. And you're buying shit that if you're to pay that much on the street, you're getting way better quality, dude. You're getting inferior quality for way too much, but it's just a matter of time. Because, again, the reason why I nominated the plant as my favorite character in the game is because nothing stops her. She was here with the evolution of man since the beginning of time. It's why we have an endocannabinoid system.
Right, in our
body. She will continue before you and I die. You feel me? Yeah. She will continue to evolve. She's smart. You know, you feel me? And a lot of these strains are like accidents, man. And the growers joke like she felt like fucking herming and making seeds. We can't control her, dude. It's what she felt like doing. It's a trip.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess to answer that too, it's like, yeah, I mean, rarely go to a dispensary, really. I mean, yeah, I mean, the few times I'll go or I have gone, it's like kind of just someone that hasn't. I'll go with someone that hasn't gone before, you know.
Yeah.
Like just to be like,
so they want to go and see the experience.
Yeah, they want to see it. Like, oh man, they want to.
But you know, I know, especially out in where you all at, you can find probably the best gas on the street before any dispensary, anyway.
Well, that's the thing. So I got a hookup. I know a guy. So you know, when my like friends or something like that, like, oh, let's go to the cookie store or whatever. It's like, I'll go for just to see some shit. Maybe get a cartridge because that is something for sure. Like I do like having the vape pen sometimes. You know, a little more discreet. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I think what Danny was saying though is like as a goal with the equity stuff is like to gotta lower the prices on the taxes because I mean it's gonna bring more people in. I mean, a lot of people are really turned off by the taxes, but I mean it's not enough to not have, they're still making money, obviously, because there's enough of a population that's gonna buy it, right? But
the way I see it, LaTosque, it's like, check it out. You ball, right? You play basketball. You're really good at it. You have to move away from your neighborhood where everybody's good. That's why you're good, because you were raised that way. You go to another town where everybody's jocking the dudes that are playing. You know from watching on the sidelines that they're not that good, and you're like, man, I'm gonna run game on these fools as soon as I touch the court. And that's the attitude I have right now, because I'm like, if these fools are selling weed for $60 an eighth and getting away with it, wait until we figure out how to exert control over independent, exclusive supply chains to major retailers, which do the work for us because we're adding value. And it's all strategic, man. It's the art of war. Again, Shogun Scrolls. It's survival. And the highest form of war, I'm going to go left real quick just to share with you because it's got to be said. LaTosque, the lowest form of war is to send your men into physical battle with the enemy. You expend lives, resources, ammunition, hospital bills. It costs money, you know what I'm saying? The highest form of war is to use your mind to outmaneuver your enemy and even find a way for there to be co-benefit and to outsmart them without going into physical battle at all. That's the highest form of war. To always exert control, you know what I'm saying, from that position. And that's how I see this game. And that's why it's wise to align ourselves in a positive way. And again, I have a lot of faith in that. I'm watching from the sidelines. It can be done. But the relationship from predator by the dispensaries wanting to pay as least money as possible and make the most to one of a true ally. Like I always use the example of skateboarding, surfing. Now, if you hear me out, when surfing started in the 50s, you were seen as a beach bum who was lazy, who had no value in society. It's now $1 billion industry, and it was the guys who were on the water who became legends, like Jack O'Neill, who invented the wetsuit, not the guys in suits and ties. And so now, what I'm saying is, it's hella funny. I'm gonna do it again. But
counterculture, though, yeah.
The counterculture. We're talking about breaking left. With
the surfers.
The surfers, but right before that, is the Shogun Scrolls, the Art of War, the survival part of it. Yes. And what I'm saying is now when you look at a sponsorship for a skateboarder, when a skateboarder or a surfer has like Quicksilver or Nike as their sponsor, Nike isn't trying to bend them over disrespectfully in the course of doing business. They're trying to like hook them up because they see the value in that talented athlete that's one of a kind. And that's our mission, is to change that dynamic so that we have these beneficial relationships. And you know how we're doing it, man, with Balca and the genius of Javier Armas, a Balca leader, is through education and a newsletter. And we've been able to really work with bud tenders who are Latinos, Latinas, African Americans, Asian folks, the people that represent our communities, because the owners are in a different demographic. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was going to ask you to get into next. I need to know more. The people need to know more about Balca, especially those who are in the Bay Area. Can you please tell us more information about that organization?
Absolutely. We got just like 3 minutes, man, because we have 15. But please excuse us. For Balca, it is a Bay Area Latino Cannabis Alliance. We are uniting San Jose, Oakland, San Francisco. I like to say where hip-hop left off, we're picking up with the legalization of cannabis. And what I've realized is that the culture of cannabis went from the street into this legal world, and we can carry that torch into what that feels like and looks like, because you're no longer rapping about running from the cops because you got a bag of weed. You're rapping about having such a good time, about being on the beach high with your friends, playing the guitar. It's a beautiful thing, and it's just, that's what we're going to see. Okay. And it's real empowerment, you know what I'm saying?
Just two more questions real quick. What is your most treasured possession?
Treasured possession, man. Danny would have to go. It would go for hours on Danny.
My freedom, man. My freedom, dude. Because there's places.
That's perfect. Stop there. That's perfect. Your freedom is your most treasured possession. And lastly, what do you hope to accomplish in the next 10 years?
To continue to change the trajectory of the California cannabis industry, to reach financial independence, not just for us, but for the world around us. We're going to change the world, man. And the plant's going to change the world, and we're just going to help it happen. But we're going to change California and the movement that we're working on. We want it to have a global effect, dude, just like other folks that have changed the world, like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Carlos Santana. We're going to take it worldwide, man. It's our time to shine, baby. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And so that way, the decade coming up, we can chill out. Put in work these next 10 years.
Daniel, Raw, thank
I
you
agree
for
with it.
sitting down with me. And
Sean, I had to step out, but yeah, he apologizes. But yeah.
Oh, hey, I understand. I saw him get the call, and I'm like, fam, got a dip, so it's all good.
No
Hey,
worries.
man, you fellas have a great time.
Thanks for having us, man. Seriously.
Oh, man, anytime. I definitely got to get on GW Smoke Break so we could chat it up.
Yeah.
Hope y'all have a good one, man. Let's stay connected, and let's keep building that bridge from Arizona to California to Illinois, all the way around the map, all right? One love.
Yeah. Thank you, LaTosque. Peace.
Later, man.
All right. So that was my talk with GWTV. Excellent fellas from Oakland. And thank you all for tuning in, man. I just want to say this was an excellent talk with them. I hope you tune in next week because I'll be tuning in with Kay and Vanessa from Hush, Chicago. An experimental event planning company that also makes jewelry and do a lot in the cannabis media and marketing sector. So this shit's been covering my mouth this whole time. So yeah, once again, thank y'all for tuning in. It's been a really great time sitting down and talking with the fellas and learning about the California cannabis industry. See y'all next time. Once again, next Monday, I'm tuning in with Hush Chicago.